Welcome back for a brand new episode of Jory Sports Stories. As always, I'm your host, Jory, and we're going to talk about Denver and its drama. And we all know the type of drama that Denver's got going on, and it's mainly around Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, and the whole organization. And those are the three main components that we're going to talk about. Russell Wilson, I think he's the victim in this case. Sean Payton is definitely the villain, and the organization has definitely enabled this, has wanted this to happen, has quietly prayed for this to happen, and so on or so forth. So, without further ado, we'll get into it. Russell Wilson did not deserve that type of treatment, period, point blank. He had been playing relatively well with what Sean Payton had been asking to do, which is lead an elementary school offense, and he had handled himself professionally. I'm going to give you a little bit more context about what I'm talking about here. As elementary of an offense that the Denver runs, Russ has for the most part played pretty well. For the most part, he had outplayed Patrick Mahomes statistically. He had looked the part with as elementary school and as dumb as the offense looked at times. He had played pretty well. He was on track to go 30-10. Touchdown interception rate, maintaining professionalism. He's handled this whole situation with grace, class, and professionalism. And it was really refreshing to finally hear him say what was actually going on. It felt like we were finally getting a tinge of authenticity that we've been needing from Russell Wilson. We've been craving, contrary to his head coach, who I'm about to get into in just a second, Mr. Sean Payton. He made it very clear that he wasn't in on Russ and wasn't interested on fixing him. He embarrassed him on the sidelines multiple times this season, and he seemed to not even respect the man as a person, period. So, where are you going to get with that? Absolutely nowhere. And then the unprofessional and unethical behavior on the behalf of this head coach and this team. Since when is it okay to treat a franchise quarterback like this? Never. When has it ever been okay to threaten to bench a player unless they follow your rules regarding a contract that you wrote? When has that ever been okay? Never. And the fact that Russ sat there, won games for that franchise, looked elementary school, but he won games, looked good doing it with a smile on his face, says a lot more about him, and it says a lot more about the type of people that are running that organization. Sean Payton ended up showing his whole rear end. But this is the same Bountygate head coach. We know exactly what we're getting when it comes to Sean Payton and his type of things and how low he's willing to do when he doesn't like certain things. We know. It's just, he just had to show his whole rear end. And I absolutely hate that it had to come at Russell Wilson's expense, because they scapegoated this man. Period. They scapegoated this man. They blamed him for everything. Oh, the rest of my thoughts, like I'm about to go back on another tangent. Sean Payton didn't give Russell a fair chance. He already knew that wasn't his quarterback for the future. He also conducted himself in a manner that made him look foolish and stupid. What I'm talking about is as soon as you get here, you start talking out the side of your neck about what Hackett did and what Russell did last year, how that's not acceptable, only to turn around and get 70 dropped on your head. You look stupid. And we all knew you didn't like Russell because you always had these little slick things to say about Russell as a quarterback. Made no sense. And this will probably go down as a permanent black stain on the Denver Broncos franchise with how poorly this was handled personally and professionally. This was a hot mess. This was a disaster. And yes, Russell Wilson will find another spot. I feel like the Atlanta Falcons is a good spot for him to go. The Steelers is too urban for him. He's too much of a suburban kid. That's not a fit. There's a handful of teams that could appreciate Russell Wilson's talent at this stage in his career. I do agree. He will get another job, but as far as the Broncos are concerned, they really left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths with this, mine included, because it's like, this is not how you deal with somebody who's won a Super Bowl, who's won Walter Payton Man of the Year, who has the accolades he's had. Like, this is not how you treat people, period, regardless of what you do for a living. And that makes me upset.